That was, of course, Ellie Goulding with Saltskin. This is Andy B on the Get Your Home Show, only on Pure 24/7 Radio. And if you check your clocks as I do for the day of the week rather than time, you'll see it's a Thursday, not a Friday, or the ninth day of the week, which it sometimes feels like it should be, which means I've got Laure Jackson. Hello, Anne.
Hello. Great to be here. Hello.
Now, I have a drink because it's hot. Well, it's not so much hot, it's humid, which I know it is on Jersey for you as well.
Oh, it is hot. There's, moisture in all, coming from all pores and all areas. It is hot. This is going to be tough for some of our sensory people for sure.
It will, and it struck me because I woke up this morning thinking, oh, it's not too bad. It was quite cool. There wasn't much sun. Went outside, did a bit of work. I always put a hat on as a matter of course. It's just what I do. I don't know, driving trucks, you just get used to wearing a hard hat. So I put a hat on. We were outside for 15, 20 minutes. Do we need suntan lotion? No, it's 9:30 in the morning. It's not a problem. It's loads of clouds. 10 minutes later, we're all diving inside the house to get some cold drinks, to get some suntan lotion, cover up some more. It's just, hello, there was cloud.
I know, and it has just changed so drastically. And then we had a shower this morning, and I thought, oh, that's nice. That's nice and fresh. And then all of a sudden, like the heat just goes woof. Sudden change in temperature. Lovely to have a bit of heat back, but does it really need to be quite so extreme? So
I had some questions. It's completely self-interesting, but not necessarily. So I've been working on our exhibition stand today, and it's got me thinking, because I'm a dad, so I always think about little children. Always, because I know what it's like to have small children at a festival or something, because they get bored really quick. So we're thinking, well, how can we engage little children on the stand? How can we engage, how do I put this, bigger children in their 50s? How do we engage them? Because, hey, people get bored, and it's very hot and very stuffy. But as we've been planning out the exhibition stand we've got a 3 by 2 meters space, 3 meters wide, 2 meters deep, basically 2 meters tall, thereabouts. And so we think, well, how do we make this good for people who want to come along? So, of course, we're looking at the visual aspects. Is it going to draw people in? Are there good colors? Is it, nice clouds? We love black and white because it's very, very easy to read. There's some yellow in there, which just stands out. So all that's sort of the obvious part of a stand, but it got me thinking about sensory health, because it's all very well having a pretty stand, but is it inviting? Because even if you've got lovely oranges and greens and reds and all those luscious colors, or even pastels, it can be uninviting. And one of the things that we're spending a lot of time on, it's not so much we want people to come onto the stand to pay money for stuff. That's not what we're going for. What we want is to have conversations. But how do we best engage them? So the colors are great. I'm really happy with that. But now we're trying to think, well, we've got a 3 meter gap. Well, do we put a table here? Do we put a table there? Do we put a stand at the back? Do we have a TV? Is that information overload? Do we put toys on the floor for children? Is that a dangerous thing? So it got me thinking, hey, I thought I'd ask you, what are some of the good things that exhibitors might want to consider if they're at a festival with a very mixed audience?
Yeah, as you were talking, the first thing that came to mind was a different seating option, because that's the one thing when you're at a festival and you're going around from place to place to place, is that you get tired. You're on your feet an awful lot. And what people don't have is an opportunity to sit. And if people sit, they're more likely to talk. So although it is a use of space, it's like, okay, how can we help people to take the weight off their feet so they might come and have a chat, but do it in a way that is different? So it's not just a box standard chair. Anybody can have a chair, but is there anything that is foldable enough? Because obviously when you are on a exhibition, you have to have things that can fold up, they can pack away, they're easy enough to transport, all of that, and they're not too heavy. So when all of that stuff goes into the thought processes of what you take with you when you're exhibiting. But I happen to love my my gym ball or a peanut ball, or you can get fold up types of chairs where you can have different cushions or seating options that are a little bit different that people might want to try. And they can bounce up and down. They can have, you can have little bungee ropes around if you do have a normal chair, but you want to make it a little bit different, a little bit inviting. Use the proprioceptive sense, use the vestibular sense. How could you challenge their balance while they're standing there? And maybe you want to have a little gizmo on the floor that it's like a little bounce pad. You're just talking about drummers. I think I don't know if it was just before we came live, but little drummers will take around little drum pads with them. so that they can practice. And it's just like, what other little things can we have that will engage people? Little things that they can stand on, little things that they can move on, something that's just a bit different from a sensory perspective. So it challenges their touch system or their proprioceptive system or their vestibular system, because most people are looking at the other senses, as you say, the colors and the smells and the sights, and they might have their chewies. They might have something for the oral motor. They might have some sweets. But let's have a look at the different senses, because that's how we get sensory healthy, and we can attract people in using something different to what other exhibitors might do, because they're not so aware of people's sensory health.
You see, I was just thinking like a wooden toy of some sort, because that's where my brain goes. Simple wooden toy, like an abacus kind of thing, or building blocks, I don't know. Something that isn't going to be dangerous, because you've got to think about people tripping over and all that sort of stuff. But I'm just thinking, how do we better engage? One of the things we've done in the past, which we're probably not going to do just because of limitations of space, is we've got a lyric game where we ask people, is this who's written this particular song, or what kind of genre of song might this be from? That's quite a good way. Now, we haven't got the space this time to do that, but that's been quite a good way of getting people to think just a little bit differently, rather than, hey, we're a radio station, let's talk to you. It's, well, who would write this song? Where would you might find this? Is this heavy metal? Is it classical? Who knows? Is it opera? So it's one of those things we've done, which is quite good fun, because it's a way of engaging people, which is what we want to do. We want to say, look, this is awesome. So colours matter, but also just the visual space. This is another thing I realised. What I remembered when I was working in retail many years ago, is I was stood one day and I had my arms out across two TVs, and my manager came afterwards and said, "You do realise you've just taken up 2 meters of space, and anybody who's looking at you from outside the shop is now seeing somebody who's trying to block them coming in. Psychologically," he said, "you've got to think about how you stand. You can't just stand with your arms out." I'd never thought about things like that, and it does make me consider how we set our stand up so that it's not closed. We want it cozy and comfy. It's going to be hot, not too comfy or cozy. Don't want that. But it just got me thinking about engagement. The seating was interesting. So last year there was a Christian dating app who had this huge seating area, and everybody just went to sit. Now they were getting a bit frustrated with, it's not here for that, but it's there, and people desperately want to sit. So if you put chairs out, people will come and sit, which is perhaps something organisers of festivals might want to consider.
That would be kind of nice, or at least seating options around. If exhibitors, okay, there's a couple of ways my brain is just firing off here. The first one is having a timer, that if they come and sit, that it's limited, because there are other people who want to come. So you can set a timer and put your egg timer on, or set a time timer, or something visual that people know that after 5 minutes, yeah, you've had a lovely chat, but please move on. You know, it's kind of like that there are time limits for this, so that you don't just sit and take up the space. And that exhibit, you know, organised would be great to have little seating options around the area, for that purpose. So it's trying to find the balance as an exhibitor, how you can tie into the fact that exhibition people don't put seating in, so therefore you use seating in a way that's helpful. But maybe that's where the likes of the gym ball, or something that's more erratic, where people don't want to actually spend too much time on it, that they'll enjoy it for the fun element of doing something completely different, or standing on a bounce pad, or that's like a mini trampoline type thing, or having a go with pulling some therabands while they're sitting on something. But it's the novelty factor of them being there, rather than giving them a big sofa that they'll just want to sit on and bring their cup of tea and just stay there for the next half hour. And it's like, I haven't got room for this, because I really want to be able to talk with people.
I just think it's fun. We have a big TV that we were using. I think it was great. The TV is very visual. It draws people. We saw someone using it recently and thought, yeah, that's why we think this is a good idea. We were doing the same. But actually in the space when we put the TV in, we thought it's a bit too much. Actually, it's a bit too big. It's about 32 inches or something. So we switched to something much smaller, because yes, it's good, and yes, it's visual, and yes, it's wonderful, and there's lots of vibrant colours. We can do all sorts. Also, we don't just want people to watch TV. That's kind of not the point. So you also want to engage. So we've got a much smaller TV now that we had lying around that we've not used for ages, that I've got out dusted, and that'll work. and it's about a quarter of the size. It'll still do the same job. We can put some information on there and all that sort of stuff, and it'll be visually attractive. But sound is another one, because I am very grateful to most organisers who are very, very hot on no noises, no sounds, because some people play music really loudly and it's just, you can't hear. So there's enough noise as it is. So I'm very grateful that a lot of the organisers are quite hot on that one. And if you're playing music or something, it's like, no, turn it down. Well, yeah, but it's really good. No, but next door doesn't want to hear it because they also want to be able to talk to people. So I'm excited about it. I'm also nervous about how tiring it's going to be, but make it fun for people, because that's what we love to do. We love to engage, inspire, encourage, and uplift. And if we can do that in some way, that's really, really good. So even things like fairy lights, I love fairy lights. There'll be twinkly lights on our stand, I can promise you, because I just think they're better. It makes everything better. See little Christmas lights in the summer.
I love fairy lights. I think they are the most loveliest thing. They're just the simplest thing. But yeah, they are absolutely lovely. They lift so many people's spirits quite remarkably.
They're happy.
Yeah.
Right. Festivals in general, because festival season is upon us for many people. Where are we? We're in mid-end of June at this point. July, people will be looking to festivals. You've got festivals already starting to happen. One of the single greatest problems of any festival is the mixing together of temperature, tiredness, not your own loo, and trying to find water. I would say that's probably the biggest problems. How can we best prepare people ahead of the summer for preparing for those kinds of struggles, shall we say, ahead of the summer? How can they best prepare themselves for children who aren't sleeping because it's too bright? There's noise in the tent next to you because they're playing music really loud till late. How can we best help our children, our families, our older folk who might be coming with us? How do we best prepare and help them?
Oh, such a good question. So many different areas that we could really dig into from this perspective. The most obvious ones, let's cover those. Things for the eyes to block out the eyes, things for the ears to block out the ears, different ways of putting other music in so you can block other people's music in. So you have that white noise, all the other different types of noise that your ears can feed on that your individual is happy with. But I really like to look also at the proprioceptive system, which is when you've got your water bottles and you've got this to carry and you've got this to carry, and where do you put all of this stuff and how do you carry it around? If you want to take your own toilet paper with you, where are you going to put it? It's like, so it's finding those things that you can strap around your body. It's wearing the clothes that are going to have that extra pocket or 5 around the place, whether you go with your cargos on, whether you go with your shorts, whether you have items that your rucksack. Do you have one that goes on the front as well as on the back? You've got your bum bag. Have you got your what are the things? Calculate before you go. What are the things you actually want to carry with you? So you've got certain things that will be in the tent, the caravan, wherever you're staying. And then there are other things that you will want to bring with you. Your chair to sit on, something to wobble on, something to drink, something to wipe yourself with, hand wipes. You can use all over your body, all the different pockets. Just plan out all of the things that you think of that you will need, so that you've got a place to carry everything, and you're not trying to fit it all into one handbag, or you're just trying to carry it all in your hands. Because the easier the load, you can spread it around your body, spread it around all the muscles, spread it around the proprioceptive input around your body, and then it'll spare the weight being in one part, which can be quite exhausting. It's transferred throughout your body, and it's much more organizing and integrating that way as well.
I was also thinking about colours of fabric, which is a simple thing. I've been wearing black jeans today. It means I got a bit hotter earlier on. I knew that was the case and I lived with it. But of course, there are those for whom the clothing matters. Maybe they really, really are very, very fussy about what they can wear because they can't cope with a particular fabric. Jeans are quite heavy. Cotton is obviously better. Maybe they don't like the feeling of cotton. But if you're going to a festival and it's going to be very hot, well, those jeans they only ever wear because they won't wear anything else, that's not going to work for you necessarily. So I guess how can we help people prepare for, when we're on holiday, you're going to be wearing these clothes. You can't, and you're not wearing those. If you did that at the last minute, you're going to have big problems when your wife says, "Where's my shorts?" or whatever. But actually, how do we help people prepare for things like the clothing when there needs to be a change?
Yeah. For those that have that transition, I mean, some of my people, they need about 2 weeks to transition, certainly like from the summertime into wintertime or from shorts into trousers. So it's almost like prepare beforehand so that your skin, your system gets used to that transition cognitively, mentally. You get used to thinking, right, okay, festival's coming up. I think it's better that I'm in shorts rather than trousers, or I'm in this material rather than that material, so that your brain has time to habituate. Your brain has time to get used to the different fabrics, if you can give yourself that luxury. And the other side of it, the flip side, is that you don't have to wear school clothing. You don't have to wear suits. You don't have to wear shirts anymore, which can be a real bother when you're at work or at home or at school. But when you're in a festival, you actually have the freedom. The alternative is that you have the freedom to wear whatever you want to wear. Nobody cares. They really don't, do they? It's just like, if you need to wear mad colors, if you need to wear hardly anything, hopefully there is modesty within that, but it just relax and enjoy it and go with what you need to go as. I have to say, when my son took me to a metal concert, everyone else had their tattoos and their piercings, and they were in black, and I just went in my mummy clothes, my normal clothes. And I felt so out of place from that perspective. But everybody was so kind. They were just such lovely folk there. It's just so, it was a lovely thing. But I thought, oh yeah, I'm obviously dressed differently to these people. But do they give a toss? No. Do I give a toss? No. But it was just quite striking that I thought, oh, maybe I should have, I could have put something a little bit different on if I'd have been that bothered by it, but I wasn't. So,
black hat.
Oh yeah, is that what I need to take with me next time?
I don't know. You can stick it in a bag, pull out your black hat. There you go. Promise. So you're saying about 2 weeks in terms of trying to help somebody who struggles with the sense of the cloth on their skin. It's about 2 weeks for them to kind of go from, okay, that's a jeans material, to, okay, now we need to get even to cotton for the summer. 2 weeks.
It's so dependent. There was definitely one person I worked with, that was their timescales. That was their 2 week. They knew they needed a 2 week window to transition into different types of materials, into different types of clothes.
But I guess just don't rush into it. The thing is, if you want to enjoy something, you need to make preparation. You don't just arrive. Well, I suppose when I was 18, I might have done, just chuck some stuff in a rucksack and off I go. Now I come with a radio station and family. It's more complicated, but we do plan everything out, and I love to have a backup for something. Not because I like to plan the fun out, but I like to know, like with our exhibition stand, what if they say, well, we want you to be in this position, and that wall that we've designed to work can't be there, so we know we can take one of the sides off. Not a problem, because I'd like to know when I get to where I'm going, where I don't know where I'm going, and I don't where it is roughly in the world. I've got options, and those options, for me personally, creates a great deal of stress relief, because now I'm not thinking, well, this is all I've got and it has to work. Now we've got options. So we've got a 2 meter banner, we've got 3 little ones, we've got 2 1 meter banners, and we've got all these options that we can do. So we're planning ahead, and we'll take it all just in case. You never know. But I think options do help, but options require planning. I mean, you mentioned toilets and toilet roll. I have a special bag which doesn't come home. When I'm out, I go to Portaloo, and it has hand sanitizer, it has wet wipes, and it has toilet roll in there, it has a torch in there because it's nighttime, and I hang it on the back of the door. I've got everything I could ever possibly want, and I planned it out.
Well done, Andy B. I tell you, that is just brilliant, because there are some people who, it's the same person who had that 2 week interval. Toilet paper was like sandpaper to them. The texture, the feeling of it, and you think, oh my word, that's really hard. So they would have been, your example would have been perfect for them, and that's exactly what they would have needed to do in order to cope. It's just like they would have scouted through: do they need quilted toilet, loo paper? Is it the wet wipes? Is it, what is it that's going to work? That we need to be planning, for sure, planning ahead. I mean, I caught myself because I didn't plan well enough. As you know, I've got some banners for certain exhibitions. I can't get that word ever correct. Exhibitions that I do. But I was flying over But this time the luggage capacity was only 15 kilos. And although previously when I've flown over with my conference bag, as I now call it, I have my kit in there, I know what's what, I've got my inflatable gym ball, because again, I need to be able to deflate it because I don't want anything heavy or bulky. So I deflate it so I can carry it around with me. But my conference bag is over 15 kilos with my stuff in it. And I thought, do you know, that's the one thing I hadn't realized, because I was flying with a different airline. And it's like, no. And I thought, no, I'm not going to pay extra. It's just like, I'm not in that position to be able to just pay extra for those things. I thought, oh, well, I'll do without my banner for now. But it is something they think, yeah, you have to think about every detail. I mean, I could live with the consequences, but for some people, it's very hard to live with a consequence that really puts them out, and they find it hard to regulate themselves. They would just continue to stay in anxiety, or get depressed or get frustrated and all of that negative stuff. So pre-planning helps us get out of the negative or stop the negative from coming in, so that we can stay as calm and content and confident and coordinated and just happy about life. Because the longer we can stay in that place is good. It's just nice to be in that place with life.
I'll be honest, the toilet roll that I take is not for me. So I've got the toilet roll that I like. I take it because if I don't use the toilet roll in the Portaloo, then more people have more toilet roll. It's a really simple, I'm thinking about other people who do not think about taking toilet rolls.
Wow. How is that? God, there you go. I've never heard of that before.
I was in the Cubs. I was in the Scouts. I know what it's like to get to the toilet and there's nothing there. So it takes nothing for me to walk with a bag with a torch and a toilet roll, use my own toilet roll, and then, graphic details. But it means that I'm not using stuff up for other people who might need it more.
Wouldn't that be a considerate world if we all kind of did that, and the organisers would be like, where's that toilet roll?
I know. Do you know what struck me? Where was it? There's a men's festival a year ago, a couple of years ago, you went to, and it was immaculate. At the end of the festival, all these blokes, all these, comments about men, immaculate. The campsite. Well, I didn't see anything. There wasn't a packet of crisp packet or a can. It was immaculate. Wow. It's impressive. Other festivals, not so much. The men's festival, perfect.
Hey.
Right. And Laure Jackson, thank you. I'm going to put my head in front of the fan again because I'm melting. I'm not. The thing is, you can't drink your way out of being hot. You know what I mean? You can drink yourself so you don't dehydrate, but you can't drink yourself cooler. You can drink yourself less hot, but you can't make yourself cooler. So I'm going to stick my head in front of a fan or sit in a car or something.
Yeah, and that's tricky when you're on radio as well, because you need to go more often if you're consuming more water as well. You would wet it all out. So it's like, how do we...
Right. Thank you, Anne. If you want to connect with Anne, you can do through our website, pure247radio.org, pure247radio.org/ALJ, and you can connect with Anne Laure Jackson and all that she does on the island of Jersey. Thank you, Anne.
Great. See you next time.
Here at Pure 247 Radio, we've had the privilege of speaking to some amazing people with some amazing stories.
I was about 5k off the coast paddling, and I was watching this storm on the land, and it literally hit a mountain, and rather just going over the top of it, just turned and just came straight at me. You can't stay on the board in that instance, so I literally am jumping off the back of the board. I've got everything tethered down on the board, and I'm just holding on to the back of the board.
As I walked in, there was a fight going on the floor. There was a police sergeant sailing over the desk to help with restraining somebody. And the doors were clanging shut, all the big metal gates, and there were alarms going off and radios. And I felt this most enormous peace come over me, because I realised that this is where God wanted me to spend my career behind bars.
It was like a baptism of fire, and it was like the most socially deprived council wards in Britain. And then we were going into schools, and then kids were coming to the gigs, but then knocking on my door at night, and I was out there playing football till 11:30 p.m. at night, 12 o'clock, feeding kids, running youth clubs.
If you've missed an inspiring conversation and want to catch up, or you'd like to revisit a brilliant interview, you can. Our interviews are available on YouTube and podcast, so you can always catch up anytime you like. Search for Pure 247 Radio wherever you get your podcasts, or find our YouTube channel at Pure 247 Radio, or head over to www.pure247radio.org/catch up.